This is Team 13779, and I'm going to be talking about drivetrains. Drivetrains are one of the most essential parts of the robot. Well, what is a drivetrain? A drivetrain is a system that the robot uses to move. They normally compose of motors and wheels, and sometimes also have belts, gears, and chains, as we will see soon. Since there are an infinite amount of ways to set up wheels and motors, there are an infinite amount of drivetrains. In this video, I'll be looking at a couple of drivetrains that are all good in their own way. Before getting into the drivetrains, I'm going to first talk about the wheels, which are a very important part of the drivetrain. The first wheel is the rubber wheel. This is the most common and the most used wheel in FTC. The next wheel is an omni wheel. This wheel has tiny wheels surrounding the circumference of the wheel that help the robot move sideways instead of only moving forward. This wheel provides great mobility, but it's not the most stable. The next wheel are the mecanum wheels. These wheels are regularly large, and they do the same thing as omni wheels, but they provide a little bit more stability and support. Now let's get on to the drivetrains. The first drivetrain is the regular drive. This composes of two wheels and two omni wheels. This is a regular drivetrain with two wheels with motors on the back, which are rubber wheels, and two omni wheels in the front. The omni wheels provide turning, while the back wheels provide the power. While this drivetrain can work for the majority of the tasks necessary, it doesn't provide the greatest amount of mobility, although it's very fast. This drivetrain is easy to design, easy to build, it's pretty lightweight, it's pretty inexpensive, the battery life is relatively long, but it won't be able to get on the balancing stone, or that's this year's competition. If there's any ramps or if there's any platforms, it's going to have some difficulty getting on. And it will have an underpowered drivetrain. It won't be as strong as other drivetrains that we'll go through, but it's a great starting off drivetrain. Next up is the H drive. So this drive composes of 5 omni wheels and 3 motors. With the omni wheels, the robot can move sideways, but there's nothing putting power to move it sideways. That's why there's a motor and a wheel in the middle. With that wheel, the whole robot can move sideways, which provides great maneuverability. Well, a problem with this can be that you have to find the center of gravity and the center of mass of the robot. If you don't find the center of mass and place it somewhere else, then the robot won't get a perfect straight line that you want. So like I said, it has great maneuverability. You can go sideways with this. And the only problem with this is the design is slightly difficult, and also it's harder to get on ramps. So next up is the mecanum drive, which is pretty self-explanatory. There's 4 mecanum wheels with 4 motors connected to it, and that's pretty much it. Because these wheels are mecanum, there's great maneuverability, and mecanum wheels are huge, so you can easily get on the platforms as mecanum wheels are strong and powerful enough. It has relatively easy setup. It's just 4 motors and 4 wheels. And some problems with it is that it's big. So if you want something below the 18-inch limit and you're running out of space, mecanum wheels will be pretty difficult to put in. You're going to have to change up your whole robot. But it's also kind of slow. That's a big problem with it too. It slows down a bit. It needs 4 motors. That's also another problem. If you're using another motor somewhere else and your rev hub or whatever you're using to connect your motors only has 4 slots, if you need to use something else, you're going to have to buy another expansion hub, which is more money and more time. So it's also slightly shaky because when you go sideways, you're not moving a wheel to go sideways. You're just pretty much going on top of these powerful wheels. You're going sideways on these powerful wheels. So next up is the Unity drive, which actually has chains with it. So this has 4 motors, 4 normal wheels, and 4 chains. So what's the good parts of this? It's easy to build, it's easy to design, and it's able to hold a position well. It performs well on ramps and balancing stones, and because it has 4 motors, you can put the power, it can go fast. And it utilizes full potential of the motors as they're being connected, so that full power is going to be there. Maneuverability is going to be an issue with this, and it won't be able to support very much weight either. So last but not least is the tanks/tracks drive, which has 4 motors and it actually has a belt connected to it. The design of this is relatively easy. It's pretty lightweight. These motors won't take that much battery. It'll be able to hold a position, and it does decently well on ramps with the track treads. This drivetrain does have problems though. The maneuverability is the first one. It's pretty hard to control. The inconsistency in its turns also make autonomous pretty difficult. The drivetrain needs to be geared up to reach competitive speed, and it's pretty vulnerable, so it needs to be protected too. A drop of the robot, any robot, that'd be done, but this is relatively sensitive.